to July Brunch with Books series. This month, we are pairing Midnight Library by Matt Haig with Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest to discover how fiction can reveal our struggles and non-fiction can help us overcome them. In today's episode, we meet Nora Seed at the lowest point in her life, consumed by regret, self doubt, and belief. Let's see what happens in her world and how she enters into that mysterious midnight library and how we overcome that regret and the mountain she climbs and how Mountain Is You helps us understand why we get trapped in self sabotaging thoughts in the first place. Over to you, Dr. Geeta, for more insights from the Midnight Library.
Thank you, Sritapa. Hi, everyone. Today's book is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, a globally acclaimed novel that has touched the lives of readers of all ages. Published in 2020, the book won widespread praise for exploring mental health, touching on regret, hope, and the choices that shape our lives. Matt Haig is an experienced storyteller, blending profound life questions with a simple narrative. Through relatable fiction, he invites readers to reflect on their own lives and beliefs. What makes the Midnight Library so powerful is that it doesn't simply tell a story. It asks us to examine our own story. The central character, Nora Seed, is someone many of us may recognize in ourselves. At 35, Nora feels as though her life has become a series of disappointments. Once full of promise, she dreamt of becoming an Olympic swimmer. And she was talented in music, she loved philosophy, and she was having a career and ambition that she wanted to pursue. Yet one by one, those dreams seem to have slipped away. As the story opens, Nora feels isolated and defeated. She has lost meaningful relationships, she has abandoned her ambitions, and she has become convinced that her life is the result of one wrong decision or choice after another. And so she asks herself questions that many of us have asked at some point. What if I had chosen differently? Had stayed in that relationship, had pursued that career, had been more courageous, had become the person I once imagined I would be? These questions become a constant soundtrack in Nora's mind. What is fascinating is that Nora's suffering does not come only from her circumstances. It comes from her interpretation of those circumstances. She's not simply living her life, she's constantly comparing it to the lives she had never lived. In her imagination, those alternate lives seem perfect. If only she had made a different choice, she believes she would have been happier. If she had chosen another path, everything would have worked out. And this is where the regret becomes dangerous. Because regret has a remarkable ability to rewrite history. It erases out the difficulties, it removes the uncertainty, and it paints a picture of an alternate reality where everything would have gone exactly as we had hoped. But is that really true? Does life really happen so? The Midnight Library invites us to question that assumption. When Nora reaches her lowest point, she finds herself in a mysterious library between life and death. There she discovers countless books, and each book represents a different version of her life based on the choice she would have made on it. For the first time, she has the opportunity to test her regrets. Were those other lives truly better, or had she idealized them? This brings us to today's central insight. Regret often idealizes a reality that never existed. What we imagine a perfect outcome is because we never had to live through the challenge that it would have accompanied it. Sometimes we are not suffering because our lives are inadequate. We are suffering because we are measuring them against fantasies, imagining that if we had chosen that life, we would have been having a successful life. The Midnight Library reminds us that the stories we tell ourselves about what might have been can become prisons if we are not careful. Perhaps the life that we are longing for is not somewhere else, Perhaps it is hidden beneath the beliefs that we keep telling ourselves that we chose wrong. So, the question today to you all viewers is, think about a decision you have regretted in your life for a long time. If you could see every consequence of that choice, the joys, the struggles, the sacrifices, and the unexpected challenges, do you think you would still be certain that it was the better path for you? Now, I pass on this question to Dr. Siddharth to reflect on this and share his viewpoint. Over to you, Dr. Siddharth.
Thank you, Dr. Geeta. That was so insightful. You were sharing today. I think to answer your question, I will take an example from my life, from a friend I had met, and my one of these incidents is so personal. Today, in a public forum, I'm sharing this, but it's also to talk about how regret can change people's life completely, uh, while they don't understand what is going on with them at that point of time, but later when they reflect on it, they understand that there was something profound shifting, something very profound which was shifting inside them. My friend who was uh, actually in love with uh, somebody who he was admiring always, and he thought that his life with her will be perfect when they get married. So he was dreaming about it and making sure that he's uh, good enough for them to actually and his love's family to accept him. But unfortunately, what happened is that the family of the girl didn't accept him at all. They didn't like his skin color. They didn't like his height. There were so many other things which they didn't like, and they had a this astrology thing being discussed, and they didn't agree to it, and finally they didn't get married. Now this was something like a decision which was changing him internally. When he went for this, uh, understanding that he will not, I mean, he understood that he will not get married to this dream girl, and who he admired so much, he loved so much. He internally was breaking at that point of time, and he was having a lot of regrets that uh, what else he could have done to make sure this um, relationship started, but it didn't happen. So what he did was he agreed to marry somebody of his parents' choices, and he accepted that he will not get his love anytime in his life. With that regret, he started a relationship like marriage, and and like we all understand that marriage is not only about love; it's a lot of other things which comes as part of marriage. He was not able to cope up to those responsibilities of marriage, and that regret was slowly turning into a guilt of not able to take care of his wife now. And over a period of time, like 5 to 6 years, when I have watched him from that stage of feeling broken because he didn't get his love of his life, to the period where he had one kid actually. He his guilt was growing. His guilt was growing every day, every month, every year, that he is not living his dream life, and that regret got him to this stage that he couldn't work properly. He always had fights with his wife and the family. He was completely into this bubble of this is not my life at all. So this thought killed him so much that unfortunately he got cancer at a very young age. He was hardly 35, and in 2 or 3 years he passed away. When I remember talking to him, he always had this guilt killing him, and he didn't want to live at all. But are we so weak in ourselves that, I mean, this is a question for the audience as well, that are we so weak that only one decision can make us feel like this is dream life versus not? I think that is the question I will leave for the audience to ponder on. That what is more important? Is life not important? And we can always dream and achieve our dreams at a later point of time. But is life not important? Is what my question here is. So I feel that the regret should not be to move towards something which is dark. Rather, the regret should be trying to heal ourselves and feel good every day, because at least we are grateful to have somebody near us, somebody who is helping us every day. I think I will pause with that and pass on to Shitapa now to share her insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Siddharth, for sharing such a deep personal, experience of regret, which I'm sure will, uh, you know, let many people think about it, even in their life, what they want and what part of life they are. Are they stuck with that thought, with someone, with something in life, that yes, I could have done that, this, or have they accepted and adapted to the life they are living, or changing their path for if needed. So I would like to add my thought here that yes, regret also comes from long time waiting for something, like the perfect time, the perfect moment, the perfect person. Or maybe you thought that one person was perfect and you will not get another one. So that it begins with that thought that someday I will get it, sometime I will do it, and we just delay things for that moment to come. We don't take any action. Neither we feel confident that yes, we can, do something, to start something new. It needs that courage. It needs that action to take the first step towards change. And we just get stuck with something which we have been with comfortable with for a long time, and we keep waiting and preparing ourselves that when we feel yes, the right moment will come, that's time we will do some things. So I've been also pushing few things in my life for just to begin, because I was thinking, right now I am not aware of things, I do not have that confidence to begin. One day I will do. And it is more to be specific, maybe just I can take one example. You all know that I am an author and I have today written 15 books, but when I started, it took me 5 years to agree to a point that okay, now I will make time. I just kept pushing time, thinking one day I will write a book, one day I will write a book, and I delayed that for 5 years because I didn't have time, because I didn't prioritize it, because I felt I was not ready, because I felt what people will think. I felt people will not connect with my words. I felt people will judge me. I felt so many things in my head without even starting it. But one that moment when I thought today I will not overthink and I will start for a change, that was 2023. When I decided no, I will just start with whatever I have. That confidence doesn't come before taking an action. So it came, over the time I started building on it through actions, through repetitively taking actions. And gradually I got clarity after I began that how to enter into this world, how to do that. So I will just say to everyone here who is listening, don't wait for your perfect moment, because it will never arrive. You just start with what you have, whatever you know, whatever you have learned on the way, and grow step by step with whatever you feel is right at the moment. And the biggest regret otherwise you will have in life is that you have never tried, you have not failed, and you don't know what your capability was. You have never tried, so you don't know what you could have become, what you could have lived, if you do not take that courage step to build a new you, a new life. So I leave that thought with the audience and it passes it on to Sujata.
Thank you,
Sujata, over to
Shritapa, for
you.
sharing such personal incidents and that. And of course, I think every person relates to that. At some time of life, we've also been filled with regret. And let me assure you, you took the right step starting your first book because I've read your books and they are lovely. The horror book and also the first book. That was the heart's journey. That was lovely. So it's good you took this step. Now, when I am now going to discuss another book by Brianna Wiest. So what she says is that this is, regret is something that keeps occurring in everyone's mind. It's a little voice in the head that keeps on saying, if only I'd done that differently. We've all gone through those phases. Why didn't I take that chance? And what I do again and again, my personal favorite, what was I thinking? It's exhausting. You feel tired. Why do you think so many things and why you keep regretting? But now, let me talk about this book, The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. And the book isn't about climbing actual mountains. It's about the mountain that stands between you and the life you want. And guess what? That mountain is nothing else. It's you yourself. I know. Thank you, Brianna, also for that gentle wake up call. And here's what I love about this book. Brianna says something that completely flips the script. She says that what we call self sabotage, all those times we hold ourselves back, is actually not us trying to hurt ourselves. It's just us trying to protect ourselves. Now, let me explain. When Nora from the Midnight Library, she sits there feeling that her whole life is one big mistake. She's not just trying to be dramatic. Her brain is actually trying to keep her safe. It's saying, stay here. This is familiar. Don't take risks. Remember that time when things went wrong? Let's not do that again. And sometimes we all do that. Don't easily take risks. And there are times, of course, we do take risks, but such times are there. The problem is Nora's brain is protecting her from a danger that doesn't exist anymore. And that's what regret does, isn't it? Regret has a sneaky way of rewriting history. It edits out difficulties, it removes the uncertainty, and it paints a beautiful picture of an alternate reality where everything would have gone perfectly. In our heads, the road not taken looks like a smooth highway with no traffic. Perfect weather, and maybe even someone handing us free coffee along the way. But the truth is, and this is where Brianna's book, On the Midnight Library, Shake Hands and Agree, is that the life we imagine is almost always better than the life we would have actually lived. We think that it would have been better because every choice comes with a challenge and every path has its own set of problems. There is no life without struggle. There are only different struggles. So when Nora finally gets to test her regrets, when she actually steps into those perfect alternate lives, which she had always wanted to be, she discovers something surprising. They aren't perfect. They're just different, with their own disappointments, pressures, and lonely moments. Now, it's not that we shouldn't learn from our past. Of course we should, but there's a difference between learning and tutoring ourselves with what life is. Brianna Wiest says something beautiful in her book. She says that the patterns we see as brokenness are actually messages trying to tell us something important. Regret is the message. It's pointing to something we value, something we care about. You know, the question is, are we going to use those messages to grow or are we going to use them to stay stuck? So here's my takeaway for the week. The life you think you should have had is it probably wasn't as perfect as you imagined. And the life you have right now is probably more beautiful than you give it credit for. So now, Jasveer, can you think of someone's decision that the person has regretted? Please share your perspectives, Jasveer. Over to you.
Thank you, Sujata. Yes, there are many, people that we can learn from about how they have regretted what they have done with their life and their decisions. And I would like to discuss one very important character from the Mahabharata, um, Yudhishthir, who was the eldest of the Pandavas, his story revolves around the Kurukshetra war and the tragic discovery that Karna was his elder brother. So there were a few. He was known as Dharmaraj. Yudhishthir was known as Dharmaraj, which means the embodiment of righteousness, and he carried lifelong burdens about a few things in his life. The first and foremost was, after the war, his mother, that is Yudhishthir's mother Kunti, revealed that Karna, whom the Pandavas had just killed unfairly, was actually their eldest brother. And Yudhishthir was so shaken up. It was such a big regret for him that he actually landed up killing his own blood. And to the extent that he landed up cursing all women with the inability to keep secrets to ensure that no one would hide such powerful and just such profound truth ever again. So this was a kind of regret that he carried in his life. And even when the gambling was happening before the Mahabharata war, Yudhishthir was always haunted by his decision to participate in that dice game, because it led to the loss of his kingdom and the horrific attempted humiliation of his wife Draupadi. Then finally, during the war, uh, there is a situation where Yudhishthir, who never used to lie, had actually spoken half truth, which is that he said Ashwathama is dead. Ashwathama was an elephant uh, which was killed, and he was also Guru Dronacharya's son. And when he made that statement, it landed up disheartening his teacher Dronacharya. So this landed up to be a compromise on his truthfulness, which obviously was a big regret in his life. So in his final journey, when Yudhishthir was walking on the Himalayas and climbing the Himalayas, and this is after the war was over, and the Pandavas decided that they need to do some penance, and actually for them, they felt they felt quite sad and guilty that they landed up. The entire clan was wiped out. The Kauravas, so they went on a journey towards the Himalayas to seek penance. And Yudhishthir was the only one who reached the gates of heaven alive. So at that point in time, his moral rigidity was so strong, he refused to enter until there was a dog that was accompanying him, and he wanted that stray dog also to enter with him. So that was his dedication to righteousness. So, in spite of all these regrets that he had in life, ultimately he was allowed entry into heaven. And that stray dog also, it was actually a test of his righteousness, that whether he was really a Dharmaraj, as he was called. So, imagine such a big personality who was so spiritual and so righteous. Even he had regrets in his life. So none of us can be actually get any kind of freedom from these regrets. But after having a regret, we should learn the lessons and then move on to learning those lessons and improving ourselves. So that's my take on having regrets, and that's what it is. So now I hand it over to Dr. Geeta to continue with the story. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasveer. Your story resonates with me in the smallest detail. It highlights how, regret can trap us in the belief that our lives would be better if only we had made different choices. And it resonates with the Nora's story too. So Nora, she's treading the same path, the same pain, and testing those same beliefs. Inside the Midnight Library, she opens book after book and steps into alternate versions of her life. The choices that she would have made if she had taken that decision, what kind of a life she would have led. I know she steps into that version of her life. At first, this feels exciting because, after all, who hasn't wondered about the road not taken? She gets to, live that life that she thought she would have had if she had taken that choice. Nora visits a life where she becomes a famous musician. She always wanted to, she's a talented musician. She experiences a life where she pursues elite athletic success. And she also enters a world where she has achieved all her goals. She once believed she would, solve all her problems. From the outside, these lives appear impressive. Many of us would probably envy them because she really gets to live them. Success, recognition, achievement, adventure, the very thing society often tells us will bring happiness, but something surprising happens. Each life contains difficulties she never anticipated. The famous life comes with loneliness. A successful life comes with pressures, and sacrifices. The accomplished life contains disappointments of its own. Again and again, Nora discovers a truth she had never fully considered. Every life carries a cost. Every choice creates its own opportunities, but it also creates its own limitations. Every path gives us something and asks us to give up something else. The problem is that when we look at someone else's life, or even an imagined version of our own, we rarely see the full picture. We see the highlighted reel, but not the real struggle. We see the success, but not the sacrifice that accompanies it. We see the destination, but not the difficult road that led there. And this is one of the most powerful messages in the Midnight Library. Comparison is often based on incomplete information. And because we don't see the hidden challenges, we assume their life must be better than ours. And our heroine, Nora, gradually learns that there is no perfect life waiting somewhere else. There is no version of existence free from pain, uncertainty, disappointment, or loss. The question is not whether a life contains struggles, but whether we can accept that imperfection as part of being human, as part of living our life. And the novel encourages us to replace comparison with curiosity, to seek our inner truth, what we really want, what really resonates with us. Because every person carries burdens that are invisible to others. Every life contains pain we cannot see, and every story has sections hidden from public view. And this we realize as we read the novel. And now, my question to you all viewers, have you ever admired, envied, or wished for someone else's life only to later discover challenges, struggles, and sacrifices that completely changed your perspective? What did that experience teach you about comparison? Can you share? Now, I invite Dr. Siddharth to reflect on this question and share his viewpoints on that. Over to you, Dr. Siddharth.
Dr. Geeta, that was again another insightful pointers coming out from your explanation summary of the book, Midnight Library. Also, like, previously Jasveer was talking about this part that everybody has regrets in their life. Even Dharmaraj, Yudhishthir had. Um, so the question which you're asking now is regarding that regret and how we compare our life after the regret, uh, what happens, right? So I feel, uh, if I take my example, my life's example, I had a regret of not able to lead a life in my home country, because I was in traveling and working in a foreign country, and that was actually creating this dream in my working time frame, that I need to go back to India and live a life with my parents. But though I took that decision, but by the time I actually started living in India, I lost my parents, and it was quite a catastrophic situation for me, because I didn't know what that decision was. Was that decision, uh, even helping me? I had to take that decision maybe earlier than when I took it. So there was a regret which was there, that I took this decision late. During this phase where I was in my reflective mode, I was actually trying to understand what is the purpose of life. And that was when I was doing things, but I was not enjoying them. And I decided that I have to quit even the work I'm doing. I was struggling very hard to understand where my purpose of life was. But when I was into that zone of trying to find that why, certain things helped me get out of this regret, that I took a late decision. And that was only because spiritually, if we understand ourselves, now that I do purpose clarity coaching, I have understood this, that unless we connect with our inner world, whatever is happening around us, whatever dream we have for the external part, even though we get it, it really means nothing, because there is nothing which is uh, linking with our true personality or true core being, which we may be doing thinking that it's a dream which we want to fulfill. But when we compare it with what really we want to live as, when we come to know what is our real purpose, then we get this clarity that this comparison was all futile. We get that clarity that whatever is happening around us is pushing us towards a particular purpose in our life. And when we accept it, that is exactly when I think we make peace with this thought that there is definitely a regret that certain things didn't happen the way we thought, or we did some things which maybe didn't work out. But at the end of the day, when we actually feel that our inner part is liking something, or we are enjoying something simple, something very connected to our soul, whether that is maybe work in philanthropy, or it is helping somebody as part of coaching, or doing some kind of service in religious places, or in general, something which we start connecting with, where we are giving rather than taking, we start understanding that as a human being we are all uh, made for service, and we can't live alone. We can't have our own dream and just try to fulfill that. We have to live with a larger perspective of life, and that is exactly where I feel a lot of books need to be read. And that's one of the things, like love this book we are talking about, Midnight Library, where the character is actually going and reading books. So we are talking about books here, we are talking about the knowledge and wisdom which is already sitting with the world's best philosophers. They are the world's best people. They would have achieved a lot in their life, still they have um, been grounded. They have been they have got wisdom from the learnings of their life. They have understood the lessons which they have learned, and then they have come out with something which is there for the society. So to share, to do something which is service, and that is, I feel, where I kind of compare between what my regret was of losing my parents, and late decision I made, versus now when I'm helping and getting the blessings, it feels like they have never gone. They have never left me. So this is that part which I feel covers or completes my regret, and then I'm able to embrace this guilt of mine and move on from there. So that's what I feel, how these comparisons have led to my revelations and realizations of my own life. That's something I wanted to share. Over to you, Shitapa, to share your insight. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. And that was again true revelation that many people will go through various, phases of life where you feel why I didn't do this earlier. Just like you have thought why I didn't come early when my parents were here, and you were stuck in some phase of life in some other place where you wanted to return but you couldn't return. And what I understand from your entire conversation is unless you connect with your inner, things are not moving in that direction where you want. The moment you connect with your inner, you are back home. You are back where you wanted. Now universe is aligning you to your purpose, and now things are happening in the direction you were meant to be. So everything will come when the time comes. You and there is something which is beyond your control, and that is time. It has been decided when it will come. So we need to all do our part in the planned way universe has planned for us, and things will align when we align with our inner core. So I just think that with this I will also like to add Michael Phillips is the most decorated Olympic swimmer, and in everyone knows about his achievements and ultimate success of getting gold medals and records and global admiration, and people look up to him. Like, yes, this is success, this is happiness. What else can you want? Back to back, so many medals. This is the journey everyone dreams for, like some achievement, some top achievements in life, where people look for you, cheer you, celebrate you, and you are known for some great work. And but he himself has spoken clearly about his experiencing about depression, emotional struggles, and moments where he even lost his identity. Like, he had an identity confusion, like, what am I doing? When he was at the top of his career, he felt lost. And I think what people usually see in social media or in most of these celebrated people or famous people is their perfect life. They don't go and see what was beyond that life. That is, they say the achievements, the billion-dollar empires, the achievements and their success, and all the celebrity feel. But what is not told is their hard work, the sleepless nights, doubts, self doubts, lots of sacrifices and struggles to achieve there. So, perfect life is often just a story we create from outside, but inside there is lot more which has gone to build that external appearance. So that's life. And it will be always like that, full of up and down. Even when you are at your peak, you may feel lost because something is missing in your inner core. Something has not been aligned there, or something you want more, which the world doesn't know. The world is looking at you from their side. Everything is green, but you know what is missing in your life. Over to you, Sujata, for more insight.
Thank you for sharing such valuable insights, because it is true that all of us have gone through it, regret. And then there is also comparison. As you said, Michael Phelps, his life, people used to admire him, but what he himself must have felt, that we don't know. So we just go through the appearance, what we see on in the newspapers, on social media, and then we, on our part also, sometimes there is regrets, annoying cousin, I would call, comparison. People start comparing, and that's why they fall into depression. Well, most of the times, the moment when people scroll through social media and suddenly they see that everyone is on a beach, everyone is doing so well in life, as they've just stepped out of a magazine, and you're sitting there in your pajamas, wondering where life went wrong. I mean, honestly, who decided that comparison, that comparing our messy, complicated, beautiful real lives to someone else's carefully curated highlight reel? Was it a good idea? Well, Brianna Wiest has some thoughts about this too. She says that, she calls it hitting your upper limit. Now, this is fascinating because we all have a threshold for happiness and success. And when we go above that threshold, when things start going really well, we unconsciously sabotage ourselves. Why? Because it feels unfamiliar, it feels uncomfortable, we are not used to it, so we compare. We look at someone else's life and think, see, they have it better. That's why I'm unhappy. And that comparison becomes a safe space. It lets us stay in inaction. It lets us blame external things instead of taking the scary, uncomfortable step of actually working on ourselves. But here's the thing Brianna points out. When we compare, we are always working with incomplete information. Think about it. When you look at someone else's life, you see success. You don't see sleepless nights. You see relationship. You don't see arguments. You see promotion. You don't see stress, the pressure, and the imposter syndrome that came with it. We see the highlight reel, we don't see the bloopers. And that's exactly what Nora discovers in the Midnight Library. She visits these lives that look amazing from outside. And every single time she discovers hidden challenges she never anticipated. The famous life comes with loneliness. The successful life comes with pressure. And accomplished life has disappointments of its own. Every life carries a cost. Every choice creates opportunities, but also limitations. So, what's the solution? Should we just stop looking at other people? I mean, that would be nice, but it's not exactly realistic, is it? Brianna suggests something better. She says we should replace competition uh, and comparison with curiosity. Instead of asking, why don't I have what they have, we can ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me about what I really and truly want? And that's a game changer because when you stop comparing and start getting curious, you stop running away from your own life and start moving towards it. Maybe the person you're envying has struggles you can't see. Maybe their path isn't as smooth as it looks. And maybe, just maybe, your life has gifts that someone else is secretly envying. The Midnight Library gently teaches us something important. Every person carries burdens that are invisible to others. Every life contains pain we cannot see, and every story has sections hidden from public view. So here's my takeaway for this round. Comparison is often based on incomplete information. The grass may look greener on the other side, but that's usually because we're not seeing the weeds. Let's focus on our own garden. It has its own beauty. Now, I would like to hand over on this thought and uh, my Matt Haig. Over to you, Jasmeet.
Thank you, Sujata. Uh, yes, I mean we are always comparing with people, and we believe that the grass is always greener on the other side. And the most important thing is about what you believe about yourself and what you can achieve in life. One very glaring example is of an Indian rap singer called Yo-Yo Honey Singh. 15 years ago, he was, all his songs were like reach blockbusters, and he was doing really well. He was at the peak of his career. He was making songs which were not making any sense. But they were obviously very famous, and people loved his music, and they enjoyed it, and he was at the peak of his career. And suddenly he disappeared. He vanished. 7 years later, now Yo-Yo Honey Singh is back with a new album and an ongoing music tour, claiming to be a changed man. And what did he do in these 7 years? These 7 years, Yo-Yo Honey Singh went into drugs. He was, seducing women and doing, and by his own, acknowledgement, he said that he had literally become satanic. He was doing all devilish things. He had lost control of his life. He had stopped creating music, and he was not having good relationships with his family. Obviously, his entire life went down the drain. And then he somehow, that belief would have come back that he's better than what he's doing to himself. And instead of sitting and going down the drain, he got back, and now he's back with a bang. And he's actually released an album which is doing well. And he's also, that understanding, that maturity has come. The core audience is the same. They have welcomed him back, but his conscious has come into into being. He's become more aware of the person that he is. I guess it's maturity. So what Yo-Yo Honey Singh said, he admitted that his, the addiction was because of his mental health issues. And he said, drugs destroyed me completely. I lost myself to fame, money, and women. I was like a devil, completely satanic. He's pretty witty and relaxed in his interviews, and he's understood that he's finally unlocked a spiritual truth, that what goes around comes around, and he believes in that. And that's why, though it took him a lot of time to get out from where he was stuck, but he knows he's back. And that is the marvel about uh, having fallen down and then actually making that effort to get back and get back to your place in the world. So the grass always looks greener. We believe that the person must have earned so much money and he was enjoying life, but obviously he feels that he's gone to hell and he's back, and now he wants to stay sane and do something to get back his career, and he's working on that. So yeah, that's my take on this entire thing. And thank you. I hand it over to Dr. Geeta. Thank you.
You have to hand it over to me.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Sorry. So, yes, that's my take on this entire issue. And now I hand it over to Shitapa to conclude today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasbir. That was really inspiring story, a real life story. And definitely in life, there will be regrets, there will be up and down, there will be something which didn't happen as you planned. And what we have is a choice whether we will be in that regret or we will go ahead and live a life thinking it's just a part of our life. We should not stop living because of regret. It will be there because that's life. So we have to still move on and live a life. So, with this, I conclude today's episode. See you in the next episode. Hope many things, many lessons have resonated with you and have inspired you. Thank you.